Why do they get married? Why does the narcissist even bother getting married when they know they're just going to destroy it? And it's because they want to look like normal humanity when they really are not. And in their mind, see, they're faking all the time. Their whole life is a fake, a phony. So in their mind, they want to look like as much. When you're fake as can be, you're going to try to look the best you can be if you're going to be a manipulator. So in the mind of a manipulator, that's why they don't feel like the ones that get married would be successful to them in regards to to them marriage shows another side out there, like humility, or maybe fake type commitment. And the other part is they want to have children. A lot of times a narcissist wants to have at least a couple of children, because the children are huge forms of supply. They live through the children, and they construct their children. If they if the children are going to go one way or the other, either way, from their innateness, but they're going, that is what's in their minds. They're going to still have them as supply. And even if you're a scapegoat, you're going to be supply to the narcissist until you wake up, if you ever wake up. And if you don't, you'll be more supply than if they construct a narcissist child. So there's going to be at least two, if they can do that, typically. Because they're the greatest supply, because they're, to some degree, loyal. They're going to be around for at least 18 years. And the spouse that they have is going to be around at least 18 years to some way, at least in some ways connected, even if they get divorced. But a lot of times they find an empath that if they never wake up, they will stay in the situation, sometimes just for the children. But it also gives them grounding, rooting down, and stability. And they know that whoever the spouse is and the children, after they get of age, are going to do the things around the house, pay the bills, and do all the subservient type stuff for them. Like, they don't do laundry, they're too good for that. And they don't mop or dust or cook, for the most part. And if they may cook, but that would be so that they could get supply off the people telling them how good it is and how nice they are for taking their time out to do that. But these are all reasons why. They're never like reasons of love and commitment. They're never reasons for having, raising good individuals. They just don't love. And when you just don't love, the whole game is flipped on its head. And it's not even game, but so to speak, the whole situation, the whole relationship, situationship, that's what it turns into. If they can get a primary source, grade A, they're going to settle down with them because they can project on them every day. They need what they call the family garbage bin, is what the term is called for instance, a scapegoat growing up in the family unit as a child. And the same thing goes for the empath that will marry a narcissist. It just continues. They just continue the same. The family cult just becomes, now they're the head of the next family. And everything perpetuates. And if you didn't wake up, you would become possibly a scapegoat. Instead of being as the child, the family garbage bin, now you become the adult family garbage bin. Then once they get comfortable is when they really feel comfortable establishing. This is the thing, they will cheat when they're single all the time, but they feel comfortable in establishing these partnerships that can be long-term secondary, tertiary type supplies, where they could just meet on a regular basis, have a fling, and then a home or whatever. But they're going to do these things because they need to project on somebody. They need a mask to stay supported, looking good, pristine, with truthful persons, emotions, supply, fuel every day. And they can't take care of the average normal duties in life. So they need somebody. That's why a lot of times what you'll see is you'll see them going from the family home, because they lived there so long, because they're so completely codependent. So their family took care of them until their 30s, and then you met them, and then you took care of them. So it's like they're just it's like they're an adult toddler. And all their time outside of work is spent on supply. Just keeping up with all these different supplies, projecting on you, getting you to reach out. When they meet you, they also, right away, they are starting to smear your name, because they already know from the jump that 90% of people that they get into relationships with, they end. Really all of them end, unless it's a borderline. Possibly they might keep it together, but it's rough, man. Borderline's usually somebody could do about a decade with them, and then that's usually about what I've seen. 8 to 10 years is about the usually generally speaking, what somebody married to a borderline generally will take. But the narcissists, they're in cycles. They're worse. They're like next level. I mean, the borderline's horrible too, though. The narcissists, especially especially the female narcissist is the Jezebel. They're funny because they actually give you this idea that they are an alpha female, but they also have very masculine traits. They're hugely masculine in their traits, the Jezebel spirit. So they can be both seductive and masculine in the control of the housing unit and their partner. And typically the male narcissist is effeminate. And that's why a lot of times when they leave the empath, they will have cycles with a narcissist. And the male narcissist will have a cycle with a Jezebel narcissist. But they won't marry the Jezebel narcissist because they know who they are. They can't be trusted. And they know that, so they'll just have flings with them. A lot of times a borderline can get with a narcissist, just the way it works. It's heavily volatile, but they can feed into each other. But when you get two narcissists, usually what they do is they'll cheat on they'll love bomb the crap out of each other, and then generally they will argue and fight to the point to where either they're just silent treatment each other forever in the house, or they will continue to fight to where it'll get actually physically abusive, and then it'll get kind of brutal, man. And then they'll end up breaking up, going back with their empaths. But because one narcissist couldn't defeat the other narcissist, they end up coming back together cycle after cycle. And those are sometimes the people that they're loyal to, because when they're both low on supply, they will prop each other up, because they kind of get the idea that they're equally yoked to some degree. But even two narcissists are never equally yoked. They're like a one man or one woman show, because they're rogue. And I mean, you can't have a devil's never even gonna be loyal to another devil, to be honest with you. But a lot of times they will marry you. When they find a good empath, they will marry you quickly, love bomb the crap out of you, marry you between 3 and 5 months, because that mask is going to slip. And a lot of times the night of the wedding honeymoon or something, it already starts getting more brutal than it ever has. And a lot of times what's funny is you think that in the relationship with the narcissist, that, a lot of times people will say the sex was the greatest, but you got to understand how you're looking at it is from the level of they beat you and destroyed you every day, and then once in a while they would breadcrumb you and have sex with you. So when it comes to that, and you start putting those factors in place, the reason why to some degree you think the sex was so great is because that was probably the only thing that was somewhat decent from time to time. But married to a narcissist, what they will do to get with their secondary, tertiary supplies to make their rounds is they will get you in a reactionary abuse type moment where they get you to react. They'll get in this argument with you and they'll steam out of the house. You don't even know what the argument was started from something petty, or you don't even know, what it derived from, because it doesn't make any sense, and you're always wondering why you're always fighting and it doesn't make any sense. They're drawn off fuel. The second thing is this is how they keep up with those other forms of supply. They will meet them and silent treatment you or ghost you if you're married to them for sometimes a weekend, sometimes a few hours, sometimes a day. And what they're doing is they're meeting with another form of supply. They're going to do their promiscuous things that they do, and then they're going to come back home smiling, and you're going to accept them because you, being unawoke, you're just happy that they're not raging out anymore, and they're happy, and they'll just tell you they cooled down hanging out with friends. But a lot of them, I would say all of them, are not against intermingling, having sex with anybody, male or female, for supply. I mean, this is well known across the web and across a lot of these channels, and I've seen it for myself, that they will be anisexual, so to speak, because they will do anything for supply. And when this is the thing, remember I told you that they are addicted to humans for supply. They're addicted to people. That's their main addiction. They have a bunch of addictions, generally, some of which you will never know, because they are very good at hiding them or suppressing them or putting them on pause. They're very good at putting them on pause when they meet like a new source, or if they get in this mode where they're the personality they act with when they're around you. Because really what takes over is you are their addiction, so they just, either feed into that or destroy that more while they're off some other addiction. But you gotta understand, when they're away from you, they have many personalities and types of ways that they act, because they also mirror the people that they're around. But what's interesting, if you could be a fly on the wall and see how they operate when they're with another form of supply, you would be scratching your head, because they probably, if they've been with you, they would act with your traits, your personality traits, and your mannerisms, or in a different fashion that you've never seen before, because innately it's almost like there's nothing there anymore. And another thing to do with a spouse is when you go to, like, say, a cookout or something, or some kind of dinner or whatever, if you're just mingling with people, they will always claim that you're flirting, or you're, and they will cause a bunch of trouble. They will be on your butt. But if you were to look at them, they're scoping out everybody for supply. And the longer you're with a narcissist, they're gonna, once you let them into your friend circle, it's guaranteed they're going to have sex with one of your friends, or even a housing neighbor. This is how crappy they are. And then you will be hanging out with these individuals, and you won't know a thing. And then what you'll get is, during the like devalue or the discard, so you get divorced or whatever, anything, you're going to get people like the partners that they slept with that are friends of yours, and then them both are going to be they're going to be smearing your name. Both are going to be smearing your name. I mean, they will have sex with even a family member of yours. They don't care. They are there is no level to it where a narcissist will take it. They will take it as far as it goes. And they're in their addiction to people, they will do anything. They're crazy, but to some degree, they're kind of sane, or how do you say it? They're not drugged up. That's my point. They're not drugged up, and they're being controlled like this. So it's like they're a sober crackhead that's still in the addiction currently. I'm not saying if you recovered from crack addiction. It's like a crack addict. They're like a crack addict, and to some degree, they are doing it in somewhat of a sanity level, which makes it even worse. It's one thing. I mean, it's terrible, but it's one thing. People can rationalize if you were messed up when you did something, man. But these individuals are, generally speaking, this is all taking place in and amongst the sobriety of things, because their addiction is people. But just like a drug addict, they will do anything to get it. A drug addict will have sex with you to get high. A drug addict will sell their children to get high. A drug addict will leave their family to get high, and they will give up everything they got to get high. They will treat everybody like crap, an addict will, to get high. And so when you put it in those terms, that's what the narcissist is. They act as, that's why it's kind of weird, because they kind of act as a, I say kind of sane, because they're not high. So there's some sanity there, although they're really crooked and everything's backwards and upside down. But they're kind of sane. And like I said, you could turn it on, and they could turn it on, they could turn it off. And they're addicted to people. But see, this is the thing. It's one thing when you're addicted to drugs and alcohol, because you have to still go find them. But when you're addicted to, I've never heard anybody say this, but when you're addicted to people, they're all over the place. They've even been known to they will pick up prostitutes, but they're inherently prostitutes themselves. Even if they get an STD, they will give it to you, especially one of those type permanent ones. I've heard many stories, and I've even known people. They got stuck with these diseases and stuff because they went out and they had a relationship with a narcissist. The narcissist had something or caught something, they give it right to you. This is textbook or stuff that you hear all the time online. I'm not making this up. They want to give you whatever they have, because then it makes it harder for you to get a new relationship if you were to leave them. They will do anything to secure you. That's why they want you in financial debt. They always are the ones that take care of the funds, the bank accounts. They will tell you what to eat, drink, when you can go to bed, what to wear. They control the children. They control your mind, will, and emotions, and everything. You have to ask for their permission, get their validation. But they're emotionally completely checked out. A lot of times, just like your family unit was, which to me, that was the oddest thing growing up. They could never, you can't have any deep conversations about stuff. You can never tell me about your childhood. This is getting back to the family situation with your parents stuff. And then you also could never give me explanations why you believed a certain way, and I may question it another way. No, just do it. Just do as you're told. Do what I say. And that's why you'll hear narcissists say sometimes, do what I say, don't do what I do. Because if that would be more of the friend type, because that's true. Because if you did what they did, it's the opposite of whatever they're saying. They will label themselves as schemers, players, to people that are more in the friendship category. But the old player back before the 70s or in the 70s, 80s, before the narcissist term really took way, that's more of a later term. But years back, they would call themselves players. That's a narcissist. And look at them though. They're generally when they get older, they're completely out of style because they're still trying to act and operate as a young individual, so they look stupid. They usually are always trying to get the back way in. They're trying to go the easy route, and that never works. They don't want to work. They don't provide. They're not truthful. They lie all the time. They cheat all the time. And, once their mother, father, whoever the family unit is gets older and they're gone and they're getting some age on them, then their health is poor because they don't take care of themselves. Generally speaking, narcissists are known for having poor hygiene. So there's nothing good that comes with the narcissist relationship. What happens is you get drawn in because of the fuel types. A lot of times you have the opposites don't attract. They'll tell you opposites attract, but it's usually whatever the world tells you is a lie. They'll tell you get butterflies when you meet someone you love. No, you get butterflies when you meet a narcissist, because your intuition's throwing up red flags, but then they're love bombing the crap out of you, so you run over your red flags and you get butterflies. But the world will tell you butterflies is a great thing. It's not. It means that your intuition's telling you you're with an individual that is destructive and you need to leave. But because you haven't honed your intuition and you're getting love bombed, it's making your red flags flutter. I call them feel good red flags. And then the other thing is they will say in life that opposites attract. No, they don't. Likes more or less track. But the reason why you attract with a narcissist is because you grew up in the same family, and a lot of times you have similar childhood wounds, and that's why they can see them. And when it comes to how they play you, they get you to play into or they draw you in by your childhood wounds. And, they find the child in you because that's what they are. But that's why it's easy for them to see, is because they're a toddler. So they find the child in you. And then it's almost like they're able to rewind back to you in that age and subliminally and, know how you were and what hurt you. It's spiritual, y'all. It's spiritual. There's no other way to put it, especially when you've seen faces like I have. And I'm not the only one. There's hundreds of thousands of people on the earth that have. The new psychological stuff is now telling you that if you see demonic faces on a narcissist, that's your problem. Some sort of phobia or something that you're not really seeing it. That's what they'll tell you now. Do you know that? They will do anything. And I told you they'll do anything in this world system to not make you believe in the spiritual realm. So why are they hiding it so much? They don't want you, they just want you to believe everything gets more micro or macro, bigger or smaller. That's it. Nanoparticles. But that's why a narcissist will marry you, because they're lazy. They get supply off their spouse. They use them as a human family garbage bin. They can cheat on a spouse that's loyal. And once they get established, they need somebody to root them down, to plant them, to help them feel supported and secure. And then you end up becoming their father or mother figure. That's the role you're parentified. And they become like your daughter or son. That's the role you'll end up in. And that's a lot of times why when you get into a long-term relationship with a narcissist, they don't want to have sex with you, because it's kind of weird, man, because they're kind of looking at you like you're their mother or father role now, because they parentify you. They want you to be their parent now, to give them love and adoration, admiration, just like the golden child that they were. And so that they can go out and do bad things, come home, and you praise them for it. So anyway, leave the narcissist, because if you're the Lambo, you need to grab your keys, and you need to go to that harem garage, and you need to tell them you ain't taking this no more, and drive away, heal, and enjoy the rest of your life, building and healing from all of this traumatic stuff you've already been through. So if you can give me a like, subscription, and a thumbs up, love you all till next time. Peace, we out.